Hello guys, it's Luna here. This video is going to be a rant about my thoughts on Blue Protocol Star Resonance after playing it since launch, over a month and a couple of weeks ago. First, let's just start by saying that I don't think Star Resonance is a bad game, and I would never be able to play more than a month of a bad game. That being said, I was very cautious about this game and started playing with low expectations. I had played the closed beta before and I knew what I was getting myself into. That helped me a lot enjoying the game for longer. But am I still enjoying the game? Not really, so let's talk about it. Star Resonance is a mix of a gacha game with an MMORPG, and as it has the pros from both genres, it also has the cons. Wait, what are the pros from a gacha game again? At the same time, it has cool stuff like the Holy Trinity, group content with meaningful mechanics, dungeons, raids, etc. It also has pay to win. You can spend money to increase your stats and accelerate your progression. But also, as a mobile gacha game, the game is easy to a point you don't really need to be rushing your progression at all. And let's talk about progression, because this is a super turn-off point in my opinion. Every week you will be able to collect a set amount of materials to increase your ability score. As the weeks go on, the game starts unlocking more ways for you to further increase your stats, like the new refining system, modules, gems, sets, new higher level gear, etc. All this that you can obtain through weekly activities and new difficulties from already existing content. And the boring thing about that is that even after more than a month, you're always into that constant feeling that it's not worth worrying too much about your gear, because next week you're getting something better anyway. Or maybe you're struggling with a content that now feels challenging for you, and all the possible excitement about it ends up with that common phrase: "Oh, don't worry. Next week we will be so much stronger that this will be easy." And that's really what happens. The game is constantly increasing its ceiling, and everything that is maybe a bit challenging becomes trivial and irrelevant very fast. But it gotta stop at some point, right? At least for a while? Yeah, we're about to get level 80 gear, and after that it will stay as the top gear for a bit longer until the next season. But the issue with all of this is that we're not doing anything new after hitting that mark. We're just recycling the very same content in harder difficulties, which means the monsters have more HP and do more damage. So after hitting that point, it's even less fun, because it's just an ability score race. We're going to have master difficulties for dungeons above level 5 up to 20, and we will be just watching the whales clear higher level content, because it's just about ability score, not gameplay. At some point, you as a free-to-play player or low spender will also be able to clear it, probably months after. And you can argue that this is just not fun. But the thing is, you don't need to clear anything beyond Master 6 dungeons to gear yourself. And the Master 6 will be very easy in general for everybody. So we're talking about long weeks of doing the same stuff we are already doing, just with more inflated numbers. You get what I mean, right guys? This is not fun anymore. The dungeons can definitely be fun. Tina and Dark Mist Fortress are very cool fights with a bunch of cool mechanics to coordinate. And all the others also have their cool aspects as well. But when it's not about gameplay anymore and just waiting for the next week to inflate a bit more your numbers, the game totally lost its fun. We still have the same 6 dungeons since week 2 of this game, with the very same mechanics. And not to mention the raids, they got super easy so fast that they just feel like a weekly farm you have to do. On the very first day of Frost Dragon, it was nice. It took my group 1 hour and a half to clear it, and it felt a little bit like a prog, which is cool. But all this only to look like a 5 minutes joke the next week doing the same content. The mechanics are easy to get, and the rest is just a DPS race. The next dragons that followed up were just getting easier and easier, and by the 3rd week, raiding became very boring. We were clearing 6 runs doing the 3 dragons on both easy and hard mode in no longer than 30 minutes. And did you notice that I already know how the game is going to look after level 80 gear? Yeah, that's because we live under the shadow of the Chinese server, so there's nothing really new. Everything is already set in stone, with guides for you to clear content even before it launches. The Chinese server is months ahead of the global server, and the global is just a copy-paste of it. So forget about going into blind runs with new content. By the time Season 2 hits the global server, people will already know everything about it, all the meta builds and the changes, all the new content will be already figured out. and you just be following religiously the words of the content creators that are playing the Chinese server. And even though you can choose to go blind to stuff, this is still an MMORPG, and everybody but you will already know what to do, and you maybe look like a clown for not watching the guide and optimizing with the Chinese server information. Any global MMORPG that lives under the shadow of its Eastern version is just boring to me. There's no sense of discovery, there's no community development and discussion about the game, we're all just watching what they have to say from the Eastern server. All this is just making my joy of playing this game quickly fade away. And I didn't even mention how poor the character build system and talents are, how simple the gameplay is in general, the presence of auto combats and the fact that this is optimal to use in some classes, etc. It can get much uglier than what I say if we dive into those topics. So, although I don't think Star Resonance is a bad game in general, the game is just too shallow for an MMORPG, and the gameplay loop gets boring very quickly. Remember, this is just a big rant and very opinion-based perspective of the game. How do you feel about Star Resonance? Are you still enjoying your experience in it? Share your thoughts in the comments down below, I want to hear you. And if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe so I can keep making content for MMORPG games. Thank you for watching, bye bye!